So we're going to now do the final step with the historical beta. We're going to use a 5-year using monthly data. And so we will bring in the data. So the data we need is the data for our company. Our company is Packer. So if you go to Yahoo Finance, so it's finance.yahoo.com. Type in the ticker for your company. Our ticker is PCAR. You will have one for your own company that you will type in. So we'll find Packer. We'll see how fast the computer is here. So there's Packer. So we'll do the historical data for Packer. So when you bring up the historical data, you want to click on the time period and go to the max. And you want to click on the frequency and make it monthly. Click apply. Make sure you click apply and then download. When you download, it will bring it up in this CSV file. What we need in this file, you can see we went all the way back to March 1980. You want to remember that date. You might write it down, your starting date for your company. All we need is the adjusted close. The adjusted close will be different than the close because of dividends and stock splits and those type of things. So that's everything we need. So I'm going to go to the very top column, click Control and Shift, hold those down, hit my right down arrow and my right arrow, lift up on all the keys, Control C the copy, and go over to my Excel spreadsheet that I'm going to put this in and just hit enter. I'm going to go back to that Packer that I just loaded, the thing I just got from Yahoo Finance. I'm going to get out of that so I don't accidentally keep going back to it. That's the problem I have, is I keep going back to it. So now I have Packer loaded. I'll put my ticker up there so I know it's Packer. The next thing we need for beta is the stock market. So you'll notice up at the top that you have the stock market here, the S&P 500, so you can click on that. I do have one warning for you. If you do this like at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, any of y'all get up early, you want to get this done in the morning, it will not have the S&P 500. It will have the S&P 500 futures. So if that's the case, if you see the word futures, then you need to actually type this in, this quote, this in as your ticker. Shift 6 GSPC, and that will bring this up to you, because if you click on the futures, it won't bring the right data in. Again, click on historical data, and then on the time period, remember that Packard started at 3/1/1980, so you want to go the one day before that, 02/28/1980. You want to go one day before that. It's not absolutely necessary you need to do that, but it does save you some time if you do that. So if your firm started, say, March or June 1984, then you want to do 5/30/31/1984. You want to go the last day of the month before that. And then we want monthly. Click apply, download. Now on the S&P 500, the close and adjusted close will be exactly the same because the S&P 500 is a price only index. So I'm going to delete everything except for the adjusted close. Again, I'm going to go to A1, Control Shift down with the arrow, down arrow, right arrow, copy. Go back to the file I'm working with, hit enter, go back to the S&P and close that down. I don't need it anymore. So now I've got the two companies loaded. I'm going to control down. You'll notice the last month is June. I'm doing this in the month of June. It's June 12th when I'm doing this. You don't want the current month if the month isn't over, so just get rid of that current month. Then control button, hit your control button, not the shift. Sometimes you want the shift if you want to highlight the area. We don't want to highlight the area. We just want to move around the spreadsheet. So hit the control button and the up arrow. We no longer need the dates. I just wanted to check and make sure we have the exact same dates for the two columns. Type in S&P 500. I'm going to now do Control Shift because I want to highlight. Down arrow, right arrow. I'm going to click on the comma just so it looks a little better. Let me center those and bold them. You can copy these two over, and now we're going to do what's called a holding period return. The holding period return is very simple. You just take the last number for the current month, divide it by the number from the prior month, hit -1, and that will tell you your return for this month. Make it a percent. Copy it over to the S&P 500. I'll move that formula over so you can see it. So now you got Packers return, S&P. Notice they're very, very different. So that would imply a very low beta. However, that's just 1 month. If we copy this down, we've got returns for every month all the way back to 1980. Pretty amazing. And then the next thing we're going to do is the rolling beta. So for a rolling beta, I want 5 years, which is 60 months. So I'm going to type a 1 there. And then I'm going to do equal that +1. And I'm going to copy that down to about 60 rows. Let's see if I got it. There it is, row 60. All we need is that row. So you can actually Control-Shift up and get rid of everything above that because you don't need it. So you just want to be on that one. It's 3185. That makes sense. That's 5 years. So the beta formula is not equal beta. It's actually equal slope because we're actually beta is a slope. Go over to your company. You must do your company first. Control-Shift up arrow. Hit your comma. Hit your left arrow. So you're with the S&P 500. Control-Shift up arrow in the S&P 500. Close the parentheses, and then hit comma so that you're only 2 decimal places. And that gives you the beta for your company. It's 1.03. That seems way too low for Packer. We're now going to copy this down, and essentially what we have is the beta for the 5 years ending any month that you are in. So here's their beta ending 5 years as of December 1985. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to get the median, which is 0.5, the 50th percentile, the 90th percentile, and the 10th percentile. So to do that, we'll do equal. Let me get this formula over there for you so you can see it, just in case you didn't see it fast enough. All right, so for percentile, we'll do equal. You just type the word percentile, Do your left arrow, Control-Shift down. Do your function 4 key to lock it in. Hit your comma and go up to the 0.5, close your parentheses. You can see there's the median. Hit your comma so it's 2 decimal places. Copy that over. I'll put this formula down below so you can see it. And then right below that, you just want to do equal and just reference that cell because we just want a straight line all the way down. So there's all the formulas we have in this section. Then we'll highlight these 3 and just copy them down. Now we're ready to do our graphs. So you go over to the 103, Control-Shift, or wherever your first beta, Control-Shift down, and then go over, but make sure you only highlight those 4 columns. Then you want to here click on the word Insert Graph. Now if you're using an Apple computer, an Apple product, their graphics are a little different. It's a little strange. I'm not an Apple user. I figured out Apple Graphs, but I can't remember off the top of my head exactly how it's different. But you'll have to figure that out on your own. You may have to Google it or have someone else in the class help you with that. But that's how you do graphics in Word. In Microsoft. I'm going to give it a title. This is Packer Rolling 5-Year Beta Monthly Data. I'll change a few other things. I don't like the way they do the y-axis, so I'm going to right-click that and do Format Axis. You notice there's a lot of white space down here, so I'm going to start it. You want to get rid of as much white space as you can. I'm going to start it at 0.75, and I'm going to go up to 2.25 and make my major unit 0.25. Again, if you're using an Apple computer, well, 225 is too much, so I'm going to use 2. 2 is enough, so get rid of all that extra white space. So that's good. And then down at the bottom, click on the graph and right-click and do Select Data. We need to put the dates in here. So over here on the right, it says Edit. So go up to the very, very top and go over to the dates. Control-Shift down, hit Enter. Now you got your dates in there. Over on the left side where it says Series, hit the Edit. The first one is the median. Series 2, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. The first one, I always do that. The first one is the rolling beta. So you change that title. The second one is the median. The third one is the 90th percentile. The next one is the 10th percentile. So we got it. The only last thing I want to switch is I want to change the dates. I'm going to format this down here, go to the very bottom where it says number, and all I want is year, Y. So down here on the very bottom, just type Y, and add, and you got your years in there. You might want to bold it. Same thing on the Y-axis. So you got it. That's what we're after, is this graph. I'm going to now copy this and bring it over to here. And now I got my graph. And you can see that their median is 125. The very, very last number down here, you'll notice, is 116, 117. If you go to the very, very bottom, the last rolling one, if you go back to Packer, if you remember from the last video, if you go to Packer, on the summary page, they show you the beta. And you'll notice that their beta is 1.16, which is 5 years a month, exactly what we did. This number should be very, very close to your very last number. You can see for us, it absolutely is. It was 116, 117, so it's right there. So you come up with your final answer. So your final beta, history, well, just talk about history. History, the median is about 1.25. Ranging from below 1, we know that's not right, to as high as 2.00. So then you just say, given all of the above, definitely cyclical, but stable margins. Oops. Sorry, definitely cyclical, but stable margins. Well, I'm going to say definitely cyclical. Your company's being very different than this, so don't need to write this down. With high debt, but stable margins. I will go above history and use a 1.40 beta. But this where it gets really subjective, and I realize if you're new to this, going to say, well, how do you do this subjectively? Most students are pretty close to the median for the history. That's fine. Just make sure this median for the history, if you use it, make sure it's consistent with everything else you said. So if you do all 4 of these steps, just like I did here, you've finished. So this application number 8 is one of the more involved ones, a little more difficult. Actually, you'll find the next few that we have are the easiest ones. So this one's the most challenging one. So hopefully you got all that in your notes, and you can see the formulas, and you're getting this to work. If you have a beta chart that just looks ridiculous, something went wrong, email me your Excel file, and I'll figure out if something went wrong.